Welcome to another session from skillsupplies.com. In this session we'll basically find about Crackle paints and its painting techniques, and you can see that these are the special paints which cracks once it is dry. So it behaves like a normal paint, but once it is dry it cracks. You can see the effect here. There are a lot of other interesting things that you can do with Crackle paints. You can have a base coat of a contrast color and then apply a second coat of Crackle paint. So once it dries, the base color will show through. It is also effectively used in lamp design techniques where the glass is painted with some Crackle paint, and once the light glows, it shows through all the cracks for a beautiful effect. So let's go ahead and do one bottle using Crackle paint. Here I have an empty glass bottle which I want to do Crackle paint on. I'll use a contrasting color. I'll use a gold color here, and before we can actually start doing this Crackle painting, we need to prepare the surface. Invariably you need to prepare all the surfaces before you start doing any Crackle painting, and the preparation requires using the contact primer. So you have two types of contact primer. One is for the matte surfaces and another is for the glossy surfaces, or plain surfaces like this, like glass, porcelain. And the matte surfaces can be wood, canvas, and other surfaces which absorb colors. Now for matte surfaces you need a basic preparation of a coat, a sealant. That can be acrylic paint, that can be a primer, anything before you apply this contact primer. If you don't want to prepare the surface with any sealant, then you have to apply probably 3 or 4 coats of this before you can try Crackle painting on them. So first what we'll do is, since this is a glossy surface, we'll apply a gloss primer on this, and then apply the Crackle paint on this. So let me just come back and apply the primer. To start applying the primer, you require a brush. Any soft brush, like something which you use for watercolor, will be fine for this. So we are using soft brush so that we see less streaks once it dries. So let's open this primer. It's quite fluid, so all you need to do is apply a copious amount of this on the surface of the glass, and it doesn't take too long to dry. It probably will dry in an hour or half an hour. But do be patient when you are applied Crackle paints, because it takes time before you can see some results. At least 2-3 hours it will take before you start seeing some cracks. And more about Crackle paints we'll discuss while we are doing this Crackle painting. So if you want to just have the uniform look on the entire bottle, cover the entire bottle with this. I'm planning to do the Crackle paint on this lower portion only. That's why I'm applying this primer only in the lower portion. But if you want to completely do the Crackle painting, then apply the primer throughout. So this is more or less done. So I'll just wait for it to dry, and then I come back. Welcome back. Now this contact primer is dried, and I hastened the process by using a hair dryer. You can also do that, or leave it probably for maybe an hour before it can become dry. And now it's time to do the Crackle paint. So this is a Crackle paint I'm going to use, and we're going to use the gold color. For this you'll require a different brush, a hard bristle brush probably, because contact primers are very thick and a soft brush will not work. So I'm using a hard bristle brush here. Make sure that the brush is dry before you use it on any surface or use. And please remember that these Crackle paints are not supposed to be diluted, otherwise you won't get the effect of cracking. So you have to apply directly from the bottle. And another thing to keep in mind is, thicker the layer is, the bigger the cracks will be. So if you can apply by spatula or some sort of painting knife, that is the best. If not, then you really have to apply a thick coat of these paints over any surface. You can see here I'm applying a thick layer, and I'll come back and do it again. So I'm taking almost like a scoops of them and just leaving it on the surface. The best results will be where you have the thickest layer. So you just go ahead and do that. And another thing to remember is they look very kind of dull when you apply them, but once they dry, the color becomes much more brilliant. So I'll just go ahead and finish the entire side and probably come back and do one more coat, and another coat has to be applied before drying, otherwise the cracks won't appear properly. So it has to be finished in one go. If you are painting something, you cannot wait for it to dry and come back again. So you have to finish the entire stuff in one go, so that it gets enough curing time and there are no overlaps. Otherwise the cracks won't develop properly. It takes time to kind of get dry, so you have enough time to work on it, probably almost like half an hour before any signs of drying will appear. So as you can see, I'm putting more and more coats because I want to see thicker cracks on this. So this is very much it. I'll come back and show you how it dries. Welcome back. Now you can see this is nice and dry and the cracks have developed. I sort of left it for a night to dry, and you can see that wherever there was a thick layer, there's bigger cracks compared to where it was thinly coated. I also plan to put a black color on this so that I can use it probably for a lighting purpose. So once I finish this and have a black crackle paint on the top, I'll show you the final photograph. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.